Hello, guys. Welcome to Life in Mandyland. I'm your host, Mandy, and I am so excited about this one today, which is really shocking that I was able to pop into her live and ask her if she wanted to be on my podcast. First of all, I just want to tell you guys that I do this podcast for three reasons. One, to raise up the healers and the teachers, the real ones in the world. And that's my mission, that's my purpose. Um, the ones who are making a ripple effect out into the world, the ones who are making the change in the world. And it's evident in everything that they're doing. And I want to raise them up, I want to honor them. And the second reason is to heal my inner child, which I've been working on for 20 years, but the one that got shut down, that was told to sit down, shut up, be quiet, and you can't be seen or heard. So I am actively embracing her and telling her to be 100% free. And then and giving you permission to do the same. So with that, is there like what is your inner child asking you for? And whatever that is, give that to that little being inside of you because that little being is precious. So whatever that is, ask that being, that little soul, that beautiful soul, what it needs and actively give it to them. Third reason is we are here in the space to share life and live loved. So, without further ado, I am so excited, Pam, to introduce you. Actually, I would love for you to introduce yourself. And right before that happens, normally I tell my guests what you have made me feel. And I have been following you for about 4 or 5 years, and I absolutely love you. And
Oh,
it might have even been like longer than that because it's been a long time. I have been on I'm hundreds of your lives. I have watched you connect with people. And you're doing one of the most in my book, you're doing one of the most amazing things that anybody can do in this world, which is connecting people to their loved ones who have crossed over because there's so many people who are hurting and thinking their loved ones are not here anymore. And I mean, they're not here physically, obviously, but they are still with them. And you are
yes.
helping connect them every day, all the time, which is healing their hearts, healing like so much. And I know you do a lot of things, and we're going to jump all into all the things that you do. But you're beautiful, you're wise, you're smart. You are just, I've seen many of your videos where you're just, you have your cute little hat on and you're like dancing and you're just having so much fun. And like, I love it. You are giving so many people permission just to be themselves. And thank you for that. Thank you for that.
You're, you're welcome. Life is for living.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to dive into your story. I want you to introduce yourself, and then I really would love, if you're comfortable, I'd love to hear how you grew up. What was your parents like? Do you have siblings? What was your home life like? And how did you come about these beautiful gifts? And we're going to talk all about it. So thank you for being with me.
So thank you. Yeah, I have been a professional ethical psychic medium on social media for over 30 years. Although ever since I was a child, I was always communicating. I didn't know any different. I just, doesn't everybody have those? I called it my other mind, right? Kind of an interesting thing. I just remember my mom saying, there she goes again, yak, 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 yak. And I didn't think there wasn't anything wrong with me. So, but people tried to say there was something wrong with me. So that has been ever since I was a little child. And as I grew up, I didn't really understand the full concept of the ability and how necessary to work with it, work with people. But I did a lot of things for friends and family members, the ones that were open. Um, and I didn't start social media till I was in my mid 30s.
Wow.
So Spirit's like, we've been working with you for a long time, so it's time. So I started off on the MSN chat rooms. That goes way back. So that's where I started with the social media. But I didn't come from a loving, warm family. It was a very violent prone, alcoholism, lots of physical abuse, SA, but yet I always had that group with me that I somehow knew no matter what, they had my back.
Wow.
I couldn't have put a name to them at that point, but I knew they had my back. So it was a rough upbringing, yes. And, when my mom married the stepfather and we began to start going to church when I was in fifth grade, it was the LDS church. I didn't really know anything about it. So I was kind of converted into that for a while. And then in high school, I just thought religion is not for me. It's not something that I align with. I have my own spirituality, my own belief system. Excuse the allergy voice today. It's been crazy here. And so I've just started my journey after that, kind of finding my own way. That's what I was doing.
I'm sorry, finding your own. Say that again, please.
My own path, my own way.
Okay. Okay. Love it. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, so when you say SA, sexual abuse, which I wrote a book about mine.
Okay.
Which, yeah, and I talk all about the sexual assaults and the sexual abuse in very detail about it in my book Fertile Darkness. I always like tell people
Okay.
yeah, it's on Amazon.
Fellow author. That's awesome.
Because I know that there's like so many people, and I wrote it because I wanted people to know that they're not alone and they can heal from it, you know? Um,
I thought that I was the only child in the whole world that happened to because nobody talked about it.
yeah.
It was kept silent. And then as I got older to realize it was more prevalent than I knew. So I kind of felt less alone
Hmm.
connecting with those. And because of that, I became in my young adulthood, I became a child advocate. So I worked with the foster care system. I volunteered at the crisis shelters. Children are my heart. And I'm still a child advocate after all these years. So I did that, and I was in the corporate world for a long, long time, but I never fit in. I never felt that's where I belonged. But, you have children, you have bills to pay, And oddly enough, during a time of me separating from my spouse, I had the two young children, and a miracle happened in the corporate world, and I got fired.
I
Uh,
love how you just said that. Okay, keep going.
and I had a very dear friend that said, congratulations, because you don't belong there and you wouldn't leave. So the universe said, all right, we've given her plenty of time. And so from there, that started me on my journey of becoming a healer. I went to massage college. I was incorporating all of these modalities, including the mediumship with my practice. And I stepped right in. That other part of my life, other than my children, it's like, it seems like that's a whole different lifetime.
Yeah.
And here I am 72, and it's like, but I think that we do things for the most part in divine timing.
Yes.
I knew that I was supposed to not be there anymore, but I didn't listen. That's important when we get those nudges to listen, or the universe will assist us, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And part of that was not only working with medical massage, but I also became a hospice massage therapist, working with um, so many people who transitioned. I did that for 9 years. So, as a massage therapist and a psychic medium, it was an incredible 9 years of being with people, transitioning. There were people who would show up in the room that nobody could see, but I knew that they were there to help them transition, take them home.
Wow. And did you see them? Like, could you see them and feel them?
No, no, they were, I could feel them.
Hmm.
Uh, and in my mind's eye, yes, they
Hmm.
showed me in their mind's eye. I had a particular hospice patient. And of course, as a psychic medium, the ethical aspect of it, if a spirit shows up, we just don't go blurt things out because we don't have consent and it's not okay. And
Yeah.
I had a patient um, who I could tell wasn't going to be open to any of that. And I went to go see him, and we always used to watch cooking shows together. He loved it. And so he said, put on the cooking show because I was also doing lymphatic work, which is helping some of the swelling. So I would work on his legs and we would have the show on. And as I got up to change the channel, someone nudged me from behind. And in my mind's eye, I said, who is this? And she said, it's Barbara. And I'm like, okay, cool, hello. And as I began to work with him, he said, did I ever show you a picture of my wife? And I said, no, you didn't. He said, she passed 5 years ago. Her name is Barbara. So I knew at that point, Barbara was a part of his new journey. And a week later, a week and a half maybe, he took his new journey.
Wow. That's incredible. It's incredible. And you already knew, and so he just confirmed it all. But you already knew, like she was there. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. I have a question for you. Uh,
Mhm.
so my mom passed 3 years ago. And so while she was in the hospital, she couldn't really talk or anything. And like she was having, trouble, and we knew she was gonna go. But she was surrounded by, I'm gonna say 15 family members of ours, like physically in the room. And she just looked around the room and she smiled. She smiled at she would stop and stare at you and smile, and then go to the next person and stop and smile, and then stop and smile, right? And she did that all the way across. Well, I guess it was, I don't know, several months later after she passed, I had this revelation. It just came to me, and I was like, oh my God, she wasn't just looking at us. She was looking, this is her cousins who were her mom's siblings, kids in the room with us. And I just had
Mhm.
this, like you said, the mind's eye thing. I could see that
Yep.
she wasn't just looking at us. She was looking at, yeah, her cousin here or her sister here, and then their parents right there. Like she was
Yes.
seeing, like she wasn't seeing just the 15 people in the room. She was seeing every single like person, family member who've crossed over, which was a
That
big family that they I was like, oh my God, no wonder she was smiling. I mean, yeah, she loves us, but it just hit me that she is seeing, like she was seeing everybody together.
that is correct. That is correct because they're mingling all in the room with everybody. And so that is an awesome revelation for you because it gives you peace knowing, oh, she's not really, we don't need any help to transition. The spirit knows, but it is always lovely
Mhm.
when they come to greet us, you
Yeah.
know? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I'm just amazed. Um, I so you said that did your parents like divorce when you were younger?
From the bio dad, I was real small. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
And then do you have siblings?
I do. My mom, God rest her soul, had five husbands. Okay. Yeah, five. And there are five children, and the oldest was my brother. He and I came from the first dad, and so there's five siblings. And my brother, as I was a hospice worker, came to live with me for the last year of his life, and I became his caregiver as well as still working with hospice. And he wasn't an easy person to be around because he was antisocial, wanted to live out being homeless. And so it was tough, but I don't regret any part of that. And then I'm the oldest daughter, and then there's three other ones. And my youngest sister is a fundamentalist minister. So there is not anything that she agrees with me on what I do, but we can respectfully love each other and not have that.
I love that. I love that you can
Yes.
do that.
Yes.
Because I can really identify with that with my daughter because I told you I raised her that way and then I got away from it and I began my healing journey. And now I saw her last night and I said, guess what? I told her I was going to have you on. And I was like, she's so precious though. It was like the first thing she said to me, I was talking about you. The first thing she said to me is, I know you said that you come from this background, is it okay for me to like, would you rather me not talk about mediumship? And I was like, how fucking considerate are you? Like, that is what I thought. And I was just like, just
It's not a subject
respect.
that everyone wants to talk about. Um, but it is a part of me and what I do. I love, love, love bringing comfort to people and validating the fact that their loved ones not only go somewhere, but they hang around us. They'll bring those validating names, dates, ages, but they'll also talk about things that are going on currently. And that brings people so much peace. I mean, we still have grief. Grief is grief, and grief just means that we loved. But if it brings any form of comfort, that just fills my whole soul. And one of the things when my mom passed, I shouldn't say the word passed, went home, let's put it that way. Um, she fought me on what I was there was a part of me that she fought. And I began to realize that she had the ability, but she suppressed it and didn't. Somebody said after the fact, did you know that your mom had the ability, but she was made fun of when she was younger? And she didn't want you to be made fun of. So she tried to suppress you. But anyway, when mom was getting ready to go home, and she was in the hospital. We were thought we were going to take her home, but she decided, I'm not coming home. What the gift that mom left me, and I hadn't been with hospice yet, was sitting with her, going through the stages of actively dying so that I didn't realize it till later. She gave me a gift to help my first family when I went with hospice. Their mom was identical to my mom, was a professional dancer, had five children. Everything kind of blew my mind. And when this mom began to actively die, the family was freaked out, and I was able to sit with them and say, no, no, this is part of the process. There's no pain. This is just her transitioning to her new journey. So I thanked my mom, like, oh my gosh, I was able to be there with you, and now I can help others. Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
incredible. That's incredible because a lot of people can't do that. I couldn't. Oh my goodness. I just need to take a beat because that is amazing for you to be able to, your mom, like you were able to be there for her and see all of the transitions and then be able to help other people and, just be more comforted. That is huge because I didn't have that, and I watched the process, so I didn't have it. Um, but I heard other people talk about it, which did help me. Like I went to an Instagram page that people were talking about it that was a hospice nurse.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'm glad I went to that so I could kind of see the process. But did you know that
Yes.
I couldn't even see my mom in the casket? Because and years ago I had it was after my grandmother passed and she was like or when she went home. I like how you said that. But I was 8 or 9 and she was the one that saw me more than anybody saw me and felt me and loved me and more than I ever felt from my parents. And so
Yes.
when I saw her, it was I think it traumatized me as a child.
Right.
And so ever since then, I don't like caskets. I don't like, and I just don't. I will go and I try to embrace that fear, you know what I mean? And that whatever is
Right.
happening there. But when it came down to it, I decided in myself, first of all, I didn't even know if I was going to go into the room after she passed. And my stepdad was like, "Come on, come on, come on, come on." And I was like, "Give me a beat. Give me a moment."
Right.
Because he didn't know that, that's something that I've been embracing and stepping into that fear,
Right.
you know.
Yes.
And so I didn't, I looked at her once. I mean, I looked at the body once and then I turned around because I wanted to remember her like I wanted to remember her. And then I decided not to go see her in a casket. And my family did. And I had one family member that said to me, I will hang back with you. And if you like, it's up to you, whatever you are comfortable with. And I was like, thank you. I love you. But everybody else went that I didn't want to see that. But you know what's crazy is that they all came back to me and said, we decided not to open it because it did not look like her. She aged 20 years in a matter of days. And
Right.
so she was
Yeah.
like, and they were like, no, we're not going to do it. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I didn't want to look at that. That was just
Right.
preference, but I do understand if people do. I
Right.
understand all of it. And then also my mom, like, she was very fundamental Christian. She struggled, which was crazy. She was a Bible college student. I mean, she was a Bible teacher. She taught at every church she went to. And she was like she would teach and she was always opening her Bible and and after I got out of all of it, because that kind of like helped us like connect and be connected. But then when I got out of all of it, it really put a damper on things. But in the end, she got really like she was scared. She was tormented with demons and stuff. And I was just like, I would just look at her and go, Mom, there's no demons
Yeah.
in here.
No.
There's none
No.
of that. I was like, if anything, your family is waiting for you. You are
Right.
so loved. I kept bringing on the love for her, but I watched her be tormented. Someone,
Yes, I've seen that. Yep, I've seen that in some of my hospice patients, and it's incredibly sad because it's a hard watch for family members to see
yeah, yeah,
that last moments with their loved one and the loved one's in agony and afraid to go.
yeah,
And
yeah.
let me share a story in regards to that because there was a gentleman that I worked with. I guess he hadn't really been the nicest person in his life to his family and such. Not my business. We don't judge. We go in and he was transitioning. And I remember the nurse called me and she said, "When you get over here, we need some help with because I do the therapeutic touch, which is above the body, and we need some help. We're struggling here." And I said, absolutely, the universe, there was no client at that time or patient. So I remember walking into the house and I could feel the intense energy of what was happening in there. And I walked into the room, the social worker was in the corner, kind of cowering. The nurse looked at me like, do something. And the patient was on this big bed. He was just thrashing something awful. I mean, he wasn't in pain because he'd been given the morphine and things like that. But his wife was on the bed straddling him to try to get him to calm down. But what I saw was the preacher. The minister was on the bed screaming, saying, No matter how bad things you did, God's going to forgive you. Don't be afraid to go. It's okay. We know you did all those bad things. Go, you'll be forgiven. And I thought, no wonder he wouldn't
Right.
transition. There was this screaming going on. And there, to me, was a very disrespectful thing that happened. And of course, I looked at the nurse and she's like, you can't say anything. And I just went over and tried to do the best that I could to hold space and send healing. Um, and it was one of the roughest transitions I'd ever seen. And what a memory for the family to have them. But most of them are peaceful, but there are some that they'll fight until the very end. And I just think it's incredibly sad for what happened.
It is incredibly sad. It really is. It because I feel like people really should be surrounded by love in that moment. Like they should be it should be all about that. And I know someone who every time someone passes in their family, they all the family members gather and love them through it and are there for them, hug them and say it's okay. And that's the best like but all of that I mean like religion is such a oh God, it's a thing. It really is. And I tell people all the time, look, whatever your beliefs are, okay, as long as you're not trying to push anything on me, I'm okay. I'm okay, but
Yes.
at the same time,
Correct. In all the years and thousands of sessions that I have done, not one person has talked about any hell. That is our own fear, our own shortcomings, whatever you want to call that. And everybody goes to the same place. This is what has been shown to me by all these sessions. It doesn't mean that we escape things that we might have done because there is a life review.
yeah,
And we are made to, we're shown how our actions affected people. But what I love about all of this that's come through all these years is that there's no judgment.
yeah,
There's no judgment there. And, there are certain people who will say, um, and sometimes they're even famous mediums
mhm,
who will say, if you did bad things, you don't get to cross over. You're stuck in the dark forever. And I'm thinking, I am not ever going to agree with that. I think what happens a lot is our own dogma steps in on how we were raised.
yes,
Because, like I said, I've been thousands, and everyone, if you want to say the word, goes to the light. Everybody goes.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that because my husband and I have been obsessed with near-death experiences and listening to people's stories. And I mean, it is incredible. The life review, all the things, and you do. And one of the ones that stood out to me the most is kindness. Is like this one person did this one thing of kindness. And their life review, they were scared to even look at their life review, but the life review, yes, I truly believe, and this is just my personal belief, but I believe that we'll be able to see, like you said, how we've made other people feel and, what our actions were in that. But this one act of kindness that years and years ago, this one person did had a ripple effect. And because of that, it just spread out all over and it changed the whole trajectory of this person's life and everybody they came in contact with because of that one
Yes,
act of kindness.
yes. It's simple.
Hmm.
Love and kindness and authenticity.
Yes.
And authenticity, yes.
Yeah. I think that's one of the one things I really do love about you too is like you are very authentic and what you see is what you get and is who you are. And I love that your kids, I've heard you talk a little bit about your kids on your lives and stuff, and how, or your grandkids. And I love that so much. I told you I'm going to buy your books and I want you to talk about them. I want to buy your books and I have two grandkids. I'm definitely reading them too. I did talk to my daughter last night and I'm like, and I kind of I put a little bit of And it's okay. I respect her boundaries if that's what it is. But like, I know that it helps kids. And I'm gonna tell you right now that my grandson, he's almost 11. And because of one side of the family, so my daughter she's remarried now, but she was married before. So the other side of the family goes to church and all the things. And he came to her one day and he goes, Mama, I'm really afraid for you. And she's like, What? Why? And he said, I'm afraid you're going to go to hell because you don't love Jesus and you don't go to church and whatever. And she looked at him and she was like, ah. she sat
Oh,
she sat him down and she said, Honey, I'm so sorry you've been taught that way. She was like, You do not need to have that fear. And you know what? We've been talking to him a lot lately about all of it, and just and letting him know he does not have to be afraid. And
right.
so I know, like that, from what I understand, your books are about this. Your children's books are about this.
My first children's book, um, I wrote for my oldest grandson, and it is about how he gets to meet his spirit guides. In fact, this is the book right here. No, no nap. So my grandson Xander, and I asked permission from his parents, can I write this book? And they're like, absolutely. And so with children's book, they need something to learn, understand, maybe solve a problem. And so what happened is he didn't want to take a nap, so we threw a temper tantrum and he was in timeout. Now, during the timeout, his spirit guides showed up. See that? All, and I wanted my illustrator to represent all different cultures. So the spirit guides showed up to help him understand why naps are important, how to say sorry to mom and dad. Okay. And it's just he learned a lot in this book. Okay. So that's important because our little ones are very open. They're very open to spirit.
Yeah.
They really, really are. So this was my gift to him, my dear sweet Xander. So he didn't know initially that that was about him, but he knows now. And so I was very proud of that book. And at that point, the little one wasn't born yet. So I wasn't thinking about a second children's book at that point. But as soon as Leo was born, I'm like, I got to do that. I got to do a book for him. And one of the things that you might not be aware of is that I was a volunteer park ranger up north in Arizona for 5 years. It was my sacred place, the Montezuma Well. And so what I chose to do was to write Leo's first field trip, okay? And it's modeled after the well. And, I'm leading all the children. And so what I do in the book, I am not grandma in the book. I am Ranger Pam. See that? And so Ranger Pam greets the kids. She takes them around the park. She teaches them all about the indigenous cultures that lived there before. She helped them understand the importance of um, respecting the land, respecting the wildlife. They had their little ranger books that they had to answer. Okay. And I used the same illustrator, Amy Klein, for both books. She did a beautiful job. So at the end, they have their hands up, and Ranger Pam is giving them the Ranger oath. So that they promised to be junior rangers and take care of the land, and they got their little badge. So I really, and Leo's too young to understand yet, but he will
Mm-hmm.
know that this book is for him. So my illustrator, I love how she took a little magnifying glass with a bug as
Mm-hmm.
Leo's name. So I'm trying to reach as many children as I can to get them excited about national parks, learning about the indigenous people that lived here eons ago, all about wildlife, all about the land. So there's it's a gift that I'm leaving for Leo, but it's also trying to get children educated.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I love the Ranger Pam. Oh my gosh, the illustrations and everything is so
You did a
amazing.
beautiful job. Now, it's my fourth book, and I wrote one for inspirational poetry. That is my spirit is the white dove. I've felt that since I was a child. So Whispers of the White Dove is my inspirational poetry. And the second book, Heart of the White Dove, actually has some of my hospice stories in it.
Okay.
Um, some spiritual stories that I have written, a few poems. And there's The Cancer Journey. I don't claim it,
Mhm.
but they do tell me that I have been stage 4 cancer um, for 9 years now. Stage 4. Well, here I am. I'm still here. I don't ever claim it. Um,
Wow.
I'm a firm believer that we all have a purpose and we don't leave this earth until we've accomplished that. I think that I've got a few more people to reach, a few more people to help and educate. It's becoming more and more accepting being psychic medium. There's a lot of, I always tell my followers, use your discernment. Not everybody's doing things for the right reasons, but those that are doing it for the right reasons, you'll recognize those people. And we all of us that are ethical and support each other, we just love watching people. And even if there's 200 people in my life and only one person gets chosen by spirit, everyone else can witness that their loved one goes somewhere and that they show up. And so that is a gift for everybody to understand that, oh, if their loved one goes somewhere, so does mine. Because I feel bad for atheists. They're going to be in for a big surprise,
Mhm.
when it's their turn to journey. So we all go somewhere and there's really no death.
Yes, yes. I've heard that too. I've heard atheists, that's what I've heard a lot of near-death experiences with atheists. And it's mind-blowing because they're just like they realize they're like, "Oh, I didn't even know this was a thing." Like you said, we don't die, you know? Our
Correct.
consciousness keeps going.
So this is a temporary location for us. I always like to use this as these are meat suits.
Yeah.
Okay. They're just temporary meat suits. And I will share something in case somebody's listening that might want to understand this. When we are ready to incarnate on this earth, okay, we have to make a decision about our essence, because our essence is so expansive. There's no way these meat suits can contain it all. So we take a percentage into these meat suits. And so people say, well, where's the other percentage? Always on the other side,
Mm,
always. And um, but when I say talk to your higher self, that's what I mean.
mm,
Our higher self is us. And for those who have asked about reincarnation, well, if my loved one's been reincarnated, can they still come through? Absolutely, because there's always a portion of us that stays on the other side. So when people say, well, how do you know? My higher self will call my name very loudly, trying to get my attention. And
mm,
it's like it just takes that practice to get to know. But what better person to talk to
mm,
than your higher self who knows all and sees all?
mm. Love that. I love how you explained that. Thank you for explaining that. I felt
You're
it. I mean,
welcome.
like I do feel that because I hear a lot of people talk about the higher self, and I've talked about the higher self, and and I always talk about it as if it's it's the wise one, it's the one that has,
Correct.
all the answers,
It
and
is the wise one. Yes.
I love that. I've heard you say that before, but I'm really glad you said it again on here. Um, That's incredible. And I love the back to your books. I love that you created those books and you're just making, ripple effects. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted you on here. Now, I didn't realize I knew that you had cancer and like you said, you're not accepting that and it's a miracle to me. You're a miracle, walking, talking miracle. And honestly, I hope that you are, and I do. I feel like you're here, you're going to be here as long as you possibly are supposed to be here for, and nothing's going to stop that,
Correct.
healthy,
Correct.
healthy and whole. And I just keep speaking that over you and sending you that energy, healthy and whole, because you do,
Yep.
you
I'll
do.
take it. I'll take it. Yes.
I'm serious. I really am, and I love all of it. Honestly, I had a couple of questions for you, and now I'm trying to get better at jotting some stuff down while you're talking. But let's see, what was I thinking? Um, I drew a blank. I was gonna tell you, I was gonna tell you that I I do this exercise where after my mom passed, I do this exercise, or I did it, and this is why I tell people too, I'm like, look, if you really want to connect with them, like pick something out that's special and significant for you and them. And I told my mom, and I'm not gonna say it live because it's so personal for me. Um,
Right.
but I told her, I'm like, I want to see this specific thing when you are 100% here and giving me a hug and loving on me. And and I know that that's a thing all the time, and there's many signs that she gives me, many, 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 all the time. But when I see this one thing, for instance, when my kids, I've got three grown children and six grandchildren, but my three
Oh
grown
my
kids,
goodness. Look, you don't look old enough to be a grandma.
thank you, thank you, thank you. My husband and I have been married 32 years. And that, yeah, that's our story is in there. Basically, it's all about how I brought all the trauma and pain into my marriage, and then we almost our marriage was almost over, and then we decided because I had an affair, and all my viewers and listeners know about all this, and then you know, I went on a healing journey, and one of the things I loved about that is he didn't call me a whore or a slut or anything like that. He just looked at me because he knew me. And he said, "What do you want to do about this?" And I said, I don't want to, what's wrong with me? I don't want to be like this. And so he said, okay, well, let's get help. And that's what we did. And then we put it all back together. And that was like 15 years ago. So, um, but
There
anyway,
you go.
but but yeah, so my three grown daughters, they got me a house. They rented a house out for my 50th birthday, which was a year ago. And then we were in the pool in the backyard, and my daughter looked around and she goes, "Oh, I'm just gonna call it uh I don't know, a cat. It's not a cat, but
Okay.
I'm gonna say cat. There's a cat." And I was like, "What? Where?" And it's a specific thing. And she was like, "There it is right there." And I was like, "Where? I don't see it." And she was like, she looked at me and she goes, "This is really important to you, isn't it?" And I said, "Yes, it is." She said, and she goes, "Okay, I'll get out of the pool. I'll show you." So she walked across. It was hiding. I couldn't see it because there was a bush there. And so anyway, I looked over and I went, "Oh my God." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Just wait till I tell you this." It was my middle daughter, and I told her, I had tears in my eyes, and I was like, my mom is so with us right now. She showed, like, she's like, that is an evident sign. I asked her specifically, and she came, for my 50th, she was there. And I mean, she's always here, but that was one of those specific things. So I tell people all the time, if you really, really, really want to put this to the test, tell your loved one what it is you would like for them to show you.
Mhm.
And and I've had other people come back to me and say, "Oh my God." I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
But
You can be specific. You can ask for an in-your-face sign. My mama brings me pennies. My brother brings me dimes at the most. You know, we cremated mom, and we she wanted to be scattered over grandpa's grave, so we scattered her. And a few weeks later, I just needed to go and sit quietly and be there. There was a penny on the headstone. And
hmm,
checked with all the family, my nephews and nieces, and nobody had been there. Nobody. So that was my first indication, like, okay, mom, I
yeah,
see you, I know you're here. So she'll send me pennies. At the most, yeah, I tell people the most random times when a lot of times we need those signs for
yeah,
whatever reason. Yes.
yeah, yeah. I told you that I've healed a lot with my mom on this side. Thankfully, I knew before she died that she was not going to heal. I mean, she was not going to heal like spiritually speaking, and so that we could
Right.
actually be close. So I knew, and I had to grieve that. I had to grieve twice, you know. Um,
Yes.
but and so like afterwards, it was like 5 or 6 months later, I'm sitting on my bed and I'm doing one of those grieving cries where sometimes it's so thick that there's no return. And so I didn't want to get there, like I didn't want to keep going in that direction. But she came to me immediately and I heard her, and she said, "Stop, stop." She was like, because I was saying, "I'm so sorry, because you were in pain and I didn't do this and I didn't do that." And she was like, "Stop. You are not to carry this. There is no guilt. I am happy. I am whole. Everything happened the way it was supposed to." And one of the coolest things she's told me is that one of the most amazing things she's told me, because I thought, because my mom was 67. And like, and to me, that's just way too young. And I was just like, why did you have to go at that time? Like, you're missing out, blah, 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 blah. You know how you do. And she came to me and she said, "No." She was like, I was supposed to leave when I did. I was supposed to cross over when I did because I could not support and love you and see you and really be able to do what I want to do on the other side, where I was.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my God. I didn't think of it that way." And now she goes, I'm your number one supporter right now." I can feel her now, And
Yes.
I tell you, it's very special to me because I have something else to say about your lives. But it's very special to me that if you can imagine, my mom has your name.
She does. Her name is Pam.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
What? How synchronistic is that, huh?
I know. I know. Is your real
Wow.
name Pamela?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was Pamela too. And
Pamela Sue was actually my name.
you know you know what hers is?
Right.
Pamela Lou.
So I'm Pamela Sue and she's Pamela Lou. How interesting is that?
Isn't that amazing? I didn't
Yes, it
know
is.
that. But you have always been super special to me, and like
Wow.
everything that you do, but like and everything that you are, and yeah, and every single time, which brings me to whenever I'm in your lives and I'm listening and I'm watching and you call them postcards, whenever someone, like you're specifically talking to some, explain that. It's better for
So
you.
a postcard is I'm specifically giving a little mini demonstration of mediumship to one person. If a spirit shows up, it's for one person. But many of y'all, when you're in my live, many of your own loved ones will pop into the energy of the reading and give you a shout out. You know, some very similar things where you can say, well, that's my mom, or that's my dad, or that's a sister. Those are postcards because they can all pop in and give everyone. their own little message. That's why, and I love calling them postcards. I've been doing that for years now.
I love that so much. And there's been many times where I was wondering if you were going to pick me, but it actually happened to where, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm always connected to them. I'm all, I hear them most of the time. I'm with them, and I would much rather you have someone that is really feeling like they are desperate, for that love from their love. I would rather you do that, and it's so
Well,
perfect the way it
and
is.
I do want to say something about the desperate. I do try to tell people if you're really desperate, it's not the right time
Okay.
to get a session
Okay.
because it's just because they want so bad that they need to be in a better
Okay.
space. People will ask me, how soon after can they come through? Which I've had instant, they've come through within 4 hours. And when can I schedule a session? We're so deep in our grief initially, we need to work with that a little bit, in my opinion. Doesn't mean they're not going to come through randomly or however, but don't seek it out right away. Sit with that grief a little bit. That's just something that I remind people of.
Oh, I love that. I think people need to hear that too because they don't need to be discouraged that their loved one's not going to come through or anything like that. They will. It's just that it's gonna be in the right time.
Yes.
Um, I was really, really shocked. It was a few. I was because I wanted to know that too. And like I said, I had already grieved my mom, so it wasn't like I was in like heavy grief like some people like I said, my mom and I had a complicated relationship. So some people are really, really, really close to their mom. So I can imagine they'd probably be in heavier grief. But mine was kind of not, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Has it hurt at times? Yeah. But anyway, I guess it was 3 or 4 days later that I said, I was sitting out in her front yard and I heard this song just replaying in my head over and over again. And I was like, I hadn't heard that song in years. And I'm on social media all the time. I'm listening to music a lot. I have not heard that song in years. And it was You Are My Sunshine. And that's when I had the tears come, and I was just like, it was repeating over and over in my head. And I was like, Mom, is that you? I was like, if that's you, I need a sign. Well, we went to someone's house later that day. And I was like, and I walked outside, everybody was inside. And I walked outside, and I think yeah, it was right after her funeral. It was about a few days after. Walked outside and I looked up at the sky and I was like, Mom, I really want to know if that was you. Are you singing that song to me? Is that you? And I heard look down. I was like, look down. All I see is a table. And I look behind the table, which was a couch, and it said sunshine right there hugely on this pillow with its sunshine. And I'm like, okay,
Yep.
okay.
I love those. I just love those.
It's amazing. And
It
and she
is.
came to me like on my daughter's 30th birthday. This is something I haven't really talked about this, but like on my daughter's 30th birthday, all of us went to Tennessee. We rented out a big house, whatever, and it was fun. We enjoyed it. I went to sleep that night. And and in the house there was huge big white columns. My mom was all about some big white antebellum home columns, every time, she had to do that. And so she she just always columns. This house we were in had like 8 columns and they were huge. So anyway, I went to bed that night, went to sleep, didn't really, think anything of it, whatever. I had a dream and she ran up to me in the dream. And she ran. I was sitting on the front porch with those columns and she ran right up to me and it just grabbed me, wrapped her arms around me, and said, Mandy, all I have wanted to do is hug you. You can't feel my hug, but all I've wanted to do is hug you. And I was just like, oh my, that whole day I was in tears because I was just like, what a amazing. I tell people that all of the time. I'm like, I know you can't see them and feel them. And I want people to have more dreams. I want people to
But,
feel.
but you can learn. You can. I tell people you don't really need me or any other medium to communicate. Talk to them. Ask them. Bring me in my face signs. the more that you do that, some people will hear them, they will feel. So it's just trusting that that's going to happen. Just start communicating with them, just start talking.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it so much. Tell me again, like, tell me what else do you do? But like, okay, you've written your amazing books. You do psychic medium all the time, the mediumship work, and you do that personal with people, right?
Yes, I have private sessions. Yes.
Okay. Private sessions. And and then what else do you offer?
I still do long distance healing work if somebody needs that. I did a lot of that, you know, when I had my massage practice, but it's still, there is no time or space with energy. So I have clients all over that, are requesting to do the long distance healing. So I do the healing work as well as the mediumship, and I continue to write. And I try to, right now it's too hot, but I try to get out and I do hiking and try to stay active and spend a lot of time with my grandsons. Yes.
I love that so much. Okay. Um, I honestly, while you were talking, I know I did this before, but as you were talking, I'm just like was picturing every cell in your body, like from all the way from your toes all the way up to your head, and just like speaking life in your entire body and
I mean,
speaking
that's what
like
I do. I speak
wholeness.
that life into my body all the time.
I just wanted to confirm and be with you with that, and every cell being 100% whole and healthy.
It is. It is. So be it. That's how I live life. Yes.
I mean, and you can tell because you look how young are you? You said 70 what?
72 years young.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, see, and you don't even look that at all. Like I really thought, I mean, like I mean, I didn't know how old you were, but to me, you have this young, beautiful, vibrant. There's
Well,
so much
you're
life.
very kind. You're very kind.
There's so much life in you, and it just shows about how much healing you've done, over the years, and how much you've taken care of yourself, and how much you.
Healing never ends. There's always another layer of the onion to continue healing. And I still am in therapy. I will be in therapy forever. So
Yeah.
I always encourage people, you know, it's perfectly okay to get that help. And it helps me. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes I talk to my therapist and she goes, I don't know how you do that. I mean, sometimes I don't even know how you do what you do because life is for living, and that's what I do. I'm going to live, and I will continue to live even when I cross over. Everybody lives. Life is eternal. You cannot destroy energy, and we are energy.
Yes. Yes. Is there any like stories that come to mind, or is it or anything you can share with us? Any wisdom, any stories, anything that comes to mind right now that you can think?
Um, I mean, I've got a million stories.
Tell us a story that just you love, or you just, I don't know, just stands out to you. Anything. I just love you.
There was a particular hospice story. Now, I want everyone to understand that pets cross over as well, and pets come through. Okay. And I had a hospice patient who was a cardiac patient and was struggling a lot. And I got strongly connected to their beautiful dog. Okay. And dog always knew I was there to take care of daddy. And I had a dream, and this dog came to me in the dream and was panting and running around and trying to get my attention. And I didn't fully understand that. And I woke up and I said, wow, that's an interesting dream. And I had called the wife because I was supposed to go see him that day. And she said, Oh my gosh, last night we had to call the paramedics. They came in. There was a struggle, with him and his breathing. The dog was panicked because of all these EMTs, and we had to lock her in a closet to get her out from underfoot. And I told her my dream, and she said, "Oh my God, she went to you in the dream in the middle of the night to say, 'Come help. I need you. I need you here to help.'"
Wow.
And he did transition in the middle of the night, when they were there. But it was that reminder that the pets, they know, and that pet was like, "Would you please come help my dad?" Because I was the one that was always there helping him. Okay, so that was a pretty incredible story.
Oh, I love that so much. That is just so
And
freaking cool.
one more quick one. Little ones, like I said, are so open. I had a patient, and they always had the little granddaughter over because she was kind of taking care of her when mom and dad were at work. So the little one, I would say she's probably 3. She was probably 3. Anyway, they asked me to go and be with the family because he was transitioning. And everybody was in the room. I was in the room, and the little girl was in the room, and she called him Papa, and Papa transitioned. And the little girl began to have this huge smile on her face. And her grandmother said, "Where did Papa go?" And the little girl just smiled and she had her finger like, so that was pretty validating, that she was there. She probably saw the spirit move on to their new journey. And she was not afraid. She wasn't scared. We were all so touched by that. So that was a pretty neat story.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I bet it really did like help everybody to hear
It
that.
did. It did.
And bring
Yes.
them comfort. Oh my goodness, that's incredible. I was going to tell you that my grandson, he was 4 at the time. I've got 4 grandboys, but he was 4 at the time, and I think he's number 3 or 4. Yeah, he's no, he's the second grandson. Anyway, my husband, he came to my husband one day and he calls him Papa. That's what reminded me of it. He calls him Papa. He's like, "Papa, I saw you when you were a baby. I saw that you died, and I saw them bring you back." He was telling him all the. He didn't even know this stuff. We've never talked about it with him. I'm like, who? How did you know? He's never heard. We never talk about it. We've never
Yep.
talked about it to my daughter, and them. And he described to my husband and my Jonathan. He was like, "Tell me, buddy, like you were there." And he was like, "Yeah, Papa, I saw you being a baby. I saw you die. I saw them bring you back." And I was just like, Who was he? What,
Wow.
you know?
Pretty incredible.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
hear children talk about this stuff all the time, about even, miscarriages and things like that. Like the spirit will say, "I was in your tummy before," you know?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
Miscarriages do come through, stillborns come through, abortions come through. They all come through. There's no judgment whatsoever. There's only love.
Yes, yes. I actually had an abortion, and I speak about that in my book. And I was terrified because I thought that maybe I would never have kids because of it, because I always
I
heard that would
understand.
really mess you up.
Oh,
But
I understand that. I know. It's tough, but
yeah,
there's no judgment.
yeah, yeah. I didn't I had to, I did my grieving and everything when I came to, but yeah, I mean I know what he looks like. I know when I told one of my daughters, I told each of my daughter whenever they were around 15 so that they would know that they had a brother because he's come to me. And so anyway, my youngest daughter, she's 30 now and she was 15 at the time, and when I told her, I said, "I just want to tell you this." And when I told her, she just sobbed. She had all of these tears come out, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, and I was trying to comfort her, and she goes, "No, Mama. No, I'm not upset at you." She was like, "This just makes so much sense because I've seen him. I knew I had a brother, but it didn't make sense because I didn't have a brother." And I was like, what? She knew his name, she knew what he looked like. And I was like, so how incredible, right?
Yeah. Very incredible.
So yeah. Anyway, I have loved every second of this. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Yeah,
I
thank you. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this.
I thank you so much for coming. I mean, you are amazing. I watch you all the time, and I'm going to encourage all of my viewers to go. I mean, this is going to be on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And I was just shocked. I'm still shocked that you said yes, that you saw my message, you got right back to me easily, and I did a little dance. I walked into the kitchen. I'm like, I'm gonna have Pam Sears on my podcast. Like,
Thank you so much for asking me.
yes, like you are such a jewel, and I love everything you're doing, and just the way you talk to people, the way you interact with people, the way you're giving these people like this hope and this love. Like I said, it's one of the most, hands down, in my opinion, one of the most amazing jobs, not jobs, that you could possibly do on earth.
I
And
love it.
thank you for doing it, and thank you for
And
doing.
thank you.
I'm serious, and I look forward to being in your lives again. And
Well,
I always
thank you for
like I
always
always
being there.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
I said, thank you for being there. Yes.
Okay. You're welcome. I was gonna say, sometimes, I mean, like, I ask my guests if I ever, want to ask you back, would you ever want to come back on?
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
Absolutely.
I just want people to know you. And I'm gonna send out little clips, and I'm gonna be posting all over my socials. And yeah, I just honor you and respect you and thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're a jewel, Pam. If there any
Thank
last
you.
words? Is there anything that you
The
have?
only thing that I say when I end a live, I say the same thing no matter what social media I'm on, and that is not only be kind to others, but include yourself in the kindness.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just wanted
Okay?
I wanted to take that in for a second because
Yeah.
we are kind to others, but that's even something I'm still working on, just being incredibly kind to myself. So, thank you for that.
You're so welcome.
Okay, well, everybody that's listening, go buy her books and go see her on live. She's on TikTok and on Instagram, and I'm gonna put all of the information down below.
And
And
my YouTube. I'm also on
oh,
YouTube.
on YouTube
Yes.
as well. Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna put them all on there, and I'll tag you on YouTube as
So
well.
much.
I love you, Pam. I'm giving you the biggest hug, and I just thank you for you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye
I'm
bye.
let's see here. We are going to